Hello everyone, I am here at GAMA 2019 with two of the maybe most important members of Ultimate Guard, Patrick and Cedric, and we're going to be discussing Ultimate Guard and sleeves and accessories and kind of the story of this company and where you want to go next.
Great.
So Patrick, who are you and kind of what is your title? And then Cedric, I'd like the same from you as well.
Sure. Patrick Hildebrant, I am the CEO of Heyo America. I came to the organization about a little over a year ago now, but industry veteran, spent 13 years in the gaming industry. Took a 4-year break, did an early stage, really cool company that combined art and technology and made some really innovative products, young, growing really rapidly, and this opportunity came along about a year ago. Heyo America is the American offshoot of Heyo GmbH. German company based out of close to Frankfurt, about an hour south of Frankfurt in Germany. Really cool story there. The founders got together a couple of decades ago and decided there was a better way to do hobby gaming distribution. And then the Ultimate Guard brand came along several years ago and really filled an opportunity for high-end supplies, high-end gaming accessories, and our philosophy really is, you know, we want to create a beautiful product, really high quality product that lets the player express their personality in gaming. That's such an important part of what we believe we do as a company, and an important part of the industry and the experience is letting that player reflect a little bit of their personality in the products that we provide and the supplies that they choose to put their hobby in.
Nice. So you're a year into the CEO position at Ultimate Guard.
Correct.
Awesome. Okay, we'll come back to that for sure.
Great.
Cedric, how about you?
Cedric Phillips, the community events manager here with Heyo America. My story is much different than his. He's been in the industry much longer than I have. I've been involved in the industry so far as I was a professional Magic player from 2004 until 2011.
Nice.
So gaming is kind of what I did when I was growing up and all the way throughout college into my early to mid-20s. As I kind of worked through the year of 2011 to 2015, I took a little bit step back from gaming to try some things when I moved to Seattle, Washington. Came back to gaming like everybody does.
Yeah.
Because gaming is great.
Can't leave.
I ran into some Ultimate Guard products when I was playing in a Star City Games event back in 2016 in Louisville, Kentucky. I saw a flipping tray. One of my friends showed it to me. I was like, I've never seen something like this before. This is very cool.
Yeah.
It was obviously a little bit more expensive than your traditional deck case or deck box was, but I thought it was cool. So I got one and took one with me and started using it in all my tournaments. A lot of people started asking me where I got it, so on and so forth. I reached out to Ultimate Guard and said, like, this is really cool. Is there maybe a partnership to be had here or anything like that? They ended up sponsoring me to play Magic for a little bit. And then they opened an office in Seattle that guy is in charge of. And they reached out to me to see if I wanted to work for him. And I said yes.
And here you are.
And
so how long have you been in this position?
Since January of 2018. So,
nice.
I think Patrick's a couple months in front of me as he got kind of everything laid out. But yeah, I'd call it January 2018.
So tell me that obviously you're somebody who's very experienced and skilled in Magic, and therefore like strategic and that kind of game. Do you think those skills apply to something like business, to the marketing work that you're doing, being able to assess essentially the board and make the right plays?
Yeah, I mean, risk assessment and, you know, high leverage plays and all that other stuff. What's the best way to approach things? Magic teaches you a lot of different things in life, one of which is risk assessment and decision making and how to interact with people of all shapes and sizes. So I think all of that stuff has certainly helped me in this role.
Great. So Ultimate Guard, the story here is there's a German company that is distributing products starting a couple of decades ago and decides we want to make high-end accessories.
You got it.
So once that decision is made, what's the next, like, how does that ultimately happen, right? You work with manufacturing and you figure out, because there's Dragon Shields and there's Ultra Pros and there's all these different kinds of sleeves and different accessories, and they're all a little bit different. So what's the process like of designing a sleeve like the Katanas?
Yeah. You know, that's a great question. For us, we're gamers, we're fans, right? So we saw an opportunity to make a product that really appealed to certain aspects of the play experience that weren't being met. You know, the Katana sleeves in particular, a couple years in development. Haptics is really important to our company, so the feel of the product is really critical to that overall experience, the durability. So we spent a lot of years tinkering with the formula to make sure that this product was right, with the goal of really making the highest quality sleeve on the marketplace. And that's something we're really proud of. We believe we have a really great product. We're really happy with the early performance. It's been out for just over a month now. And we couldn't be more thrilled with the reaction to it.
You said a couple of years in development.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people would be pretty blown away by the fact that it takes years to put, the plastic, clear coating and the back together to make a sleeve.
It's not just that too. It's about testing the product as well, making sure that it kind of meets the standards that we're looking for. As a company that does develop premium protection products, we don't want to just put anything on the market. So if we're not happy with what's out there, especially when we know our competition, like a Dragon Shield, like an Ultra Pro, so on and so forth, and our goal is to make ideally what is the best sleeve and the highest premium product, it can take a little while.
Yeah. Do you go into that process thinking these are the things that we need to do to have the best sleeve on the market? Like, is there a checklist of this is what makes a sleeve great?
Yes and no, right? I mean, I think certainly in an abstract sense, it has to be durable, it has to play great and feel great, but kind of what that feel is, right? That there's a lot of subjectivity to that.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
How does it shuffle?
How does it shuffle?
What feels good
subjective
to one person versus another? Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So it's a lot of tinkering. It's a lot of going back and forth with the factories. We have some very talented folks. Again, we're all gamers. We're fans of the products, so we know what we like to play with, and we know experiences we might be missing. And we know the competition we're up against, which is tough. I mean, there's some great products out there. So we really set out to hey, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right, and we want to offer something unique, and really, if we're going to put our name on it, we want it to be right.
Yeah, so we found out about Ultimate Guard, well, probably a couple of years ago, actually. The name was always kind of floating around in the conversation of accessories. And then, we're starting to look to elevate our own accessory game in store and online.
Great.
And, we've been stocking Dragon Shields and been very pleased with Dragon Shields for a long time, and hadn't really considered going anywhere else. And I started seeing threads and started looking into Facebook and Reddit and kind of seeing what people were saying as I was coming into 2019. Yeah. And I got to tell you, the buzz is all about the katanas, right? Everybody says, I like these or I like those, but the katanas. And so I was like, well, I'd like a sample of those just to kind of see what they're all about. And I went to Robert, who's our operations manager, and said, hey, what's up with these katanas? Can we get a box of these? He's like, no, you definitely cannot. They're not available essentially at distribution or anywhere that I can get them. So obviously there's been a huge reaction to these. It's been a very successful line. And with that comes what is encountered a lot in tabletop, which is what we would lovingly call catastrophic success, right?
Sure.
Should have printed more, like could we have been more prepared for our own success? Did we play it too conservatively? Those kinds of things, which is a difficult thing to try to predict, right? So what other challenges, aside from those, have you run into throughout this kind of process of developing the Katana and getting it to the market?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got 2 years in plus now, and it's obviously paid a lot of dividends. So what kind of challenges did you run into throughout the process?
Certainly capacity comes into play, and working with your factories to get the product out quickly. And just really understanding the capabilities of the product in the marketplace and the overall demand planning. That's something that we try to fine tune.
Yeah.
Daily, weekly, monthly. It's why we opened up offices here and a warehouse here in the States to solve a lot of those problems, and we're making progress. But as you can tell by the lack of product in the marketplace, it's still not always an exact science.
Yeah.
Understanding the capacity of the factory, how quickly they can make product, what the demand might be, planning for that, talking to your customers, understanding what their thoughts are on how much they think they're going to need. There's a lot of variability involved there, right? You have a hit, the numbers could be huge. Yeah. But if you predict a hit and it's not a hit, then you have a huge challenge,
that's
right?
The fascinating
and
thing.
That's the balance that you always struggle with.
In a lot of ways, you're functioning exactly as the challenges a publisher faces in the industry, right? You're trying to figure out how many copies of this thing should I make for this original run. Right. Is there any magic to making that prediction? So we've been talking to a lot of publishers who are very frustrated with the way that they're able to forecast how many boxes they need, and it comes from distribution and it comes from retailers, and the communication there is not adequate. Do you feel like you have the information that you need to make those decisions?
I think we can make an informed decision as we can, but forecasting is never going to be perfect. You know, you can undershoot or you can overshoot it. You know, an example I'd give is we have a really expensive backpack that we actually released side by side with the Katana. It's called our Ammonite Anti-Theft Backpack. We went to a trade show for Southern Hobby in Nashville last year. Showed the backpack to a ton of people, and everyone's like, man, this thing is so cool. Oh my gosh, I love this thing. So, you know, I'm demoing it and showing everybody how it works. And we're like, okay. And then, you know, the retailer's like, okay, what's the price? And I'm like, well, it's 150 USD. And they're like, oh, it is cool.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, okay. So, you know, we go into our little sessions of forecasting, and it's like, okay, well, we know everyone likes the backpack. The price point is high. We acknowledge that. So how many do we make? Right?
Yeah.
The feedback for it was overwhelmingly positive until you get to the price point where it wasn't negative. It was more so a retailer saying, I don't know if my customer is going to buy this.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening is we kind of short ordered them, and then they sold out very fast.
Yeah,
so all weekend long, and I guess all day long yesterday, retailers are coming up to us and saying, hey, when are you guys getting more Ammonite backpacks?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I guess we should have ordered more, I think, but I'm not sure. I think we kind of did the right amount. You know, because you just don't know sometimes about how well something's going to sell, even though you might be getting a ton of positive feedback.
Right. And that's the thing is like looking back on the results, you can't really judge a decision based on what happened. It's based on the decision you made with the information that you had, right? And so given the information, it seems like you made the right decision.
But I also think one thing too is, you know, you take that feedback that you get, you take those results that you get, and then you improve moving forward. You know, so now we're able to take the information that we got from the Katanas and the Ammonite and some of our other products and forecast moving forward for Q2, Q3, and Q4 of this year, and hopefully have enough of the product in the marketplace. And apparently there's a very high demand for like everything we're doing.
Yeah, that's a pretty good problem to have.
Yeah, it is. And a big part of it is how you respond, as Cedric is alluding to, right? How quickly you can get product back in the marketplace once you see the customer's reaction to it, right? Because you're guessing. It could be a very educated guess before that. It's your hope. You hope it's informed by some data as well. But you know, you're predicting obviously until it finally gets out there and people put their hands on it and play with it and say, I love it. I vote for it. I vote for it with my wallet. You don't totally know. So then it's about reacting to that experience. And you know, for Katana, for example, and the Ammonite backpack, we know they're getting hard to get right now.
Yeah.
And that's obviously not something we want our customers to be frustrated by, and we want to get the product into the marketplace and satisfy that demand and their interest as quickly as we possibly can. On that note, we have more Katana sleeves coming. I just signed the order to pick up more from our factory. It's coming on a boat as we speak.
All right.
Yeah, so it's good. So we're getting more in the marketplace. We've readjusted our plans for the entire year to really ramp up production. So we are very committed to getting that product out and into players' hands and to satisfy that demand for it out there, which is it's a good problem to have. I'd rather have no problems, but in the world of problems, these are the kind of problems that we like, that people love the product, and our job is to get it to them. That's really what we're here to do, is to make it happen.
So obviously the Katana is a huge success. There's other accessories. You mentioned the backpack.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys do a lot more than that.
We do.
And it seems like, if I'm not mistaken, from what I've gathered, the brand as it's positioned is really the high-end accessory brand in the market. Is that where you're?
No, I mean that's who we are, and that's also kind of what we're targeting. As a Magic player, as I mentioned kind of at the jump, you know, and you play cards as well, various games, you know, these cards that we play with and everything, they're not cheap. You know, I play Magic, so you know, there's Tarmogoyfs and all these other cards that people that are watching might be able to relate to that are 50, 60, 70, sometimes $200, $300, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to put that in a cheap thing, right? I'm not going to put my favorite poster in like a Ziploc bag or something like that. I'm going to put it in a nice frame and put it on the wall or something, right? And I think, you know, initially maybe a decade ago, people didn't care so much about that. They're just give me a pack of clear sleeves and I'll put it in there or something like that. But as gaming has become more and more popular and has continued to grow overall over the past decade, people want to be able to accurately reflect themselves and who they are as far as their personality is concerned, which they're able to do with deck boxes and sleeves and binders and all this other stuff. But also they want to know that what they're putting those cards and those valuables in that they care about, that what they're protecting them with, are actually good products.
Right.
And people are willing to pay for that sort of thing. And so the gaming industry has always kind of had I guess kind of a hole as far as, you know, are you willing to pay $17 for a deck box? Are you willing to pay $22 for a binder? Are you willing to pay $12 for Katana sleeves? And we've found that if the product quality is high, the answer is yes.
I think that's a shift too. And I don't know if it's always been there, but there's been the kind of the assumption from retail upward that it wasn't there, so those products didn't get made, or if this is a kind of new consumer psychology that's taking place. Because like you said, if somebody's willing to spend $150, $200 for a card, you'd imagine they'd be happy to spend $150 on a backpack for all of those cards and to carry them around and to really make that easy for them.
I think it's probably both. I think that the market has evolved, and I also think it was ignored for a very long period of time. I like to say we're high quality, not high end, because we have price points all over. Starting at $3-4, right, all the way up to the premium backpack at $150. But we do believe people will pay a little more for that feature or that quality if the value is there. So you're not going to see 24-karat gold-plated products from us.
Sure.
We're not a luxury.
You're not luxury.
We want to be accessible and approachable as a company and as a product line, but we feel that, look, if we're going to do something, we want to do it right. So even our printed deck boxes, we pay attention to things like, they're a few dollars at retail, but we pay attention to things like registration. How does the image align on the deck box? That's important to us. Does it cost us a little more to get that precise? Yeah, but it's worth it because you want your artwork to look good. So it's things like that. But to your question, I do think, I'm also a photographer, to give you an example.
So you've spent many thousands on lenses.
Yeah,
probably.
Right? And then I didn't even think twice about my $200 photo backpack. And then the question is, well, why hasn't anyone thought about gamers in the same way, right? And fortunately, the fans agreed, right? Yes, we will spend $150 on a backpack if it does the job it's supposed to do, if it protects my investment, if it has some cool, unique features. So for the focus really for us is providing the value and the attributes that the player is looking for. And we talk about the industry evolving and the community evolving. Gaming is a huge tent now. I mean, it wasn't always like that. There was a certain stigma for gaming a couple of decades ago. I think, in my opinion, I know when I played in high school, I was a role player in high school.
It's still lingering. I mean, it's still there. That's a lot of the work we have to do, I think, in the industry as a whole is shifting that narrative away from those kind of old tired tropes.
Right.
And part of that is respecting a customer enough to say, we're going to give you nice things. Right?
For sure.
And I think you guys are doing that. And that's a good thing to be doing. And on that note, were there products along the way that really reinforced your belief that you were on the right track? Throughout your history, I'm sure you kind of make that one first bet, is anybody willing to pay $6 for a deck box kind of thing? Are there examples of that in your history?
I mean, I would think Flip and Tray and Archives.
Flip and Tray is the first place that my brain went, because I have my own personal experience, right, where, again, I've been playing Magic for 15, 16 years at this point, so I remember getting can't even imagine what my first deck box was, but some cheap piece of plastic that my dad bought me. And then I'm at this tournament in 2015, and I've been all over the world playing this game, and I see this deck box, I'm like, man, what is this? I can't believe I've never seen this before, what the heck? And honestly, as a professional player, I just give me a box of my cards and I don't really care. But when I get this one, I'm like, okay, it's kind of cool. So I'm like, the young version of me is coming out. I'm like, it flips and you can put dice and this all sort of stuff. I'm like, okay, so this is kind of cool. All right, I'll buy one of these. How much is it? $22. I'm like, well, all right, it's cool. I'll take one. Let's see how this goes. And it's durable. It feels good. People are asking me where I got it from. So now, if you care about that sort of thing, people are like, yo, where'd you get that deck box from? Who's that made by? Because it's like when you have a nice pair of shoes on, people are like, yo, cool shoes or cool shirt or whatever, It's like, where'd you get that thing from? So now you kind of hit this weird status symbol if you care about such things. And so Flip and Tray is, I think, where they really, Ultimate Guard, I guess we kind of really broke into, hey, this is something kind of unique that you've not seen before, right? And then we went down the trajectory of Sidewinders, which are a little bit different product than the Flip and Tray, but a similar price point. But as Patrick mentioned, we have our Boulder deck cases, which are our best-selling ones and probably our most popular ones by a lot. And those sell for $7 to $9, $7 for the 80 plus and $9 retail for the 100 plus. So it doesn't always have to be 17, 22, 25, backpacks 150. At the end of the day, what kind of makes what we do work is we have to hold up our end of the bargain as far as quality is concerned. Otherwise, what we do is not going to work. Right. And so the nice thing is we got a great team of people that we do work with to be able to hold up our end of the bargain. And then from there, if the product quality is good, my job's kind of easy.
The marketing becomes easy.
My job's kind of easy.
I would think the moment for me, the first time I really experienced it, is when a fan came up and it's almost like they're inspired by the product. Yeah. They nerd out, they love it, it's so cool, but then they start giving you ideas. Like, what if you do this? And what about this product and this idea? And have you thought about this device for this kind of game? And all of a sudden they start to generate ideas of how this could be cool and that could be cool. And then you kind of know you're onto something, right? When their imagination goes to work. Yeah. And you've touched a nerve.
You've inspired them.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we love the feedback too. That's the other thing is, people come to us with ideas at trade shows like this or on social media about like, have you guys considered this color, this thing, or this type of thing? And it's like, we're always happy to take brand new ideas because we just want to make products that kind of inspire gamers because, one of our slogans is for gamers, from gamers, because that's who we are.
Yeah. Well, if you have this entire kind of foundation that seems to be now pretty well established, right. Where do you go from here, right? What's the vision for the next 5 to 10 years of Ultimate Guard? If you could write it right now in the clouds.
Boy, there's so many answers to that question. There's so many opportunities because gaming is so. We talked about it being a big tent. It's massive, right? Yeah. And gaming is not just tabletop, by the way, right? Esports and digital. It's all. You play both. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not one or the other. It's gaming in general. So. Obviously that's something that a lot of companies are looking into, but there's a ton of opportunities still in the tabletop space as well, right? I mean, we've just begun. We continue to innovate. We have a bunch of new products that we're not quite ready to talk about yet, but lined up coming out later this year. New initiatives in the works. So, for us, the things we're focusing on right now to get right now is. We talked about getting demand planning, getting supply right for the Americas market. That's a big part of our charge here in this office, making sure that, hey, we have a demand we're not meeting right now, and we need to get on that and make sure we're getting products into the marketplace and into the hands of the players that want them. And then again, we're talking about inspiring, all these ideas that come up at shows, and there's a lot of room left. I mean, the backpack kind of came from one of those, right? Yep.
Yeah.
And so there is a lot of room there still left in the tabletop market. So, we are considering all aspects of gaming, not just tabletop. That's certainly part of where we're headed. Pop culture, digital entertainment is still a very important topic for us, or will be a very important topic for us. Not just for product and development, but also marketing and who we talk to and reaching those fans. And in terms of tabletop R&D, building a cohesive system. We like to call it a gaming system. I mean, our boxes fit inside of our larger boxes, and our sleeves fit inside of our boxes, and these are all meant to complement each other. Our dice fit in the boxes as well. Our new dice line, Okie Dokie Dice. So, expanding, complementing, and then I would say the other key strategy on the trade side is, we're very committed to hobby retail stores. I grew up shopping in hobby retail stores. They're the lifeblood of this industry. There's thousands of them out there. Mm-hmm. It's a great, healthy category and a great, healthy business. We believe there's a tremendous opportunity in the supplies category. Merchandising, presenting the products effectively at the retail store, and partnering with those folks to make sure that the fans coming into the stores have a great experience when they're in there. So that's really kind of, that's kind of a lot to cover, but those are really some of the key things we're looking at right now to do, is that retail experience overall, expanding our tabletop line, and then reaching gamers wherever they are.
Right. Since we are here at Gamma, I'll ask one final thing, which is a little more industry related. Is there anything that retail stores or distributors could do to make your jobs and lives better or easier? Is there anything in that space?
Yeah, that's great. They already do so much. We have great distribution partners. We get great feedback from retailers. But, I would encourage them to keep the feedback coming. We have a great support structure here in the Americas market, also in Germany to talk to retailers. We speak 3 languages in our office, which is great. So, we can handle requests from all over the Americas market. But that feedback is really invaluable to us, really. And same with players, talk to their stores. Let them know what they want. Let them know what they're looking for. We'll get that feedback. We'll act on it. Some things don't always translate as quickly as we like, right? Yeah. So some people think, well, I gave you that feedback and a month has gone by and I haven't really seen any progress. We just want people to know we hear it and we value it. Yep. Yeah. Sometimes it takes a little longer to get the machine moving in the right direction to respond to that, but we're on it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. If there are retailers looking to get into Ultimate Guard supplies, what should they do? Or what should their players even tell them to do? Do they need to get set up with certain distributors or anything like that?
Absolutely. So we have terrific distributors in the Americas market. I can mention them by name: Southern Hobby Supply, GTS, PhD, Line Rampant in Canada, Universal Distribution in Canada, Koki in Latin America, and Devere in Latin America. They're all really great partners. They work really hard. They take care of their stores. They can also contact our support line. So if retailers need any help connecting those dots or have any questions about the product line, support at heyo.us is a great avenue for them to use. Awesome. And we're ready and willing to take those calls and emails.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much, Cedric.
Of course.
Thank you
course,
very much
you.
for taking the time.
Thank you. Great to meet you,
Patrick. This is Ultimate Guard. I think very impressive. What would you call yourselves? A studio or production company? What are you?
Manufacturer and distributor.
Manufacturer and distributor. Not exactly the most exciting title, but they're doing great work. So keep an eye on Ultimate Guard. And if you want these sleeves, talk to your stores, or if you are a store, talk to your distributors about getting them. Thank you guys so very much again. And until next time, keep playing.